MJ Akbar, വർത്തമാനകാല ഇന്ത്യൻ മാധ്യമലോകത്തിലെ അതികായനാണ് അദ്ദേഹം. കോളേജിൽ നിന്നിറങ്ങി കഷ്ടിച്ച് 22-23 വയസ്സുള്ളപ്പോഴാണ് അദ്ദേഹം ആദ്യമായി ഓൺലുക്കർ എന്ന വാരികയുടെ പത്രാധിപരാകുന്നത്. 25 വയസ്സായപ്പോൾ സൺഡേ എന്ന പ്രശസ്തമായ വാരിക അദ്ദേഹം ആരംഭിച്ചു. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ അന്വേഷണാത്മകവും സാഹസികവുമായിട്ടുള്ള പത്രപ്രവർത്തനത്തിൻ്റെ തുടക്കക്കാരൻ അദ്ദേഹമായിരുന്നു. സൺഡേ മാഗസിൻ ഇന്ത്യൻ പത്രപ്രവർത്തന ചരിത്രത്തെ തന്നെ മാറ്റിമറിച്ചതാണ്. പക്ഷേ അടുത്ത കാലത്തായി അദ്ദേഹം രാഷ്ട്രീയ രംഗത്താണ് കൂടുതൽ സജീവമായിരിക്കുന്നത്. 80കളുടെ അവസാനം കോൺഗ്രസ് പാർട്ടിയിൽ ചേർന്ന അദ്ദേഹം ഈ കഴിഞ്ഞ 2015 അദ്ദേഹം BJPയുടെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട നേതാവാണ്. അദ്ദേഹം ഇന്ന് ദേശീയ വക്താവാണ്. അക്ബറാണ് ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ അതിഥി. MJ, I just said you were a hero for our generation of journalists. You were just hardly 25 years when you launched Sunday, which sort of redefined Indian journalism, especially the investigative, aggressive kind of journalism. And then you went on to become the editor of so many newspapers and magazines. But twice you left journalism to join politics. In the late 80s, you joined Congress Party, and then recently joined BJP. To a person, somebody who was looking from outside, you appear to have gone through a transformation of sorts, right? From, we thought you were a left radical liberal when you started Sunday, then you became a Nehruvian secular person at that time. Then most unbelievably to many, you joined BJP. Can you just explain this journey of yours?
I think one of the things that I learned very early, I noticed, of course, that there's a subjective element to your use of hero.
Exactly.
You were in the past tense.
When you were a journalist, that is all. Right.
The first thing journalists must learn is to laugh at themselves.
Right.
Only then you have a right to laugh at others.
Exactly.
So, but I briefly put, I have always been more interested in ideas than ideology.
Right.
And when you are in journalism, you know you are a journalist.
Right.
That we are also in public life. We are one of the estates. We have a responsibility towards democracy, towards protecting the fundamental pillars of democracy, free press, the right. In fact, the journalism that has always made me most proud, even if you'll see my books,
Right.
is not and in my own writing, is not talking about or reporting about the powerful,
Exactly.
but about the powerless.
Right.
And as you go on to journalism, and I hope you too have this experience at some point, you begin, and now it's 4 decades,
Right.
you begin to feel that all that you could have done in journalism has been more or less achieved.
Right.
And then as a human being, you begin to look for other means of
Right.
trying to, I don't believe that, will be a sudden tremendous, light on the way to Jerusalem or something of that sort. But the little bit that you can do, right? The little bit that I have been able to do, even in my 8 months in Parliament, maybe one village, one taluka in
Right.
that village, Palakot in Jharkhand.
Right.
The fact that there is now electricity there for the first time in 70 years.
Right.
That there is water there.
I see.
That a camp has started where all the women who could not afford to pay 500 rupees so that they could get a BPL card.
Right.
This is basic ground level corruption.
Absolutely.
That now they have.
Right.
That you managed to change a few marginal lives.
Right.
But the kind of satisfaction, I don't want to sound preachy,
I know. Right.
It's not, but there is enormous satisfaction,
Right.
right, in doing the little that is possible.
Right. So basically, it's kind of, journalism has its own limits. Beyond my point, you won't be able to kind of achieve the kind of social mission if you have.
Even social mission, I'm not a social missionary. I'm just an ordinary sort of guy who, perhaps come from a very small town, Kasba, wrong side of the jute mill. On the working side of the jute. We were not poor, but
Right.
it wasn't, we were in a very small.
Right.
And from there, through Presidency College to reaching where we are as editor in Bengal and so on. I mean, you've exhausted your.
Right.
So I think the temptation to see what else, how much of life is left.
Right. And now about this political position I asked you about, it was absolutely understandable that you have always, you have written one of the best books on Nehru. And so to hold, a Nehruvian secular position was absolutely understandable. But many thought that, after 20 years or even before that. So, you came back to journalism after getting a bit disillusioned with, you were an advisor of Rajiv Gandhi personally.
I was a member of parliament.
Right, member of parliament, an elected member of Lok Sabha.
And now I'm a member of parliament again.
That is right. So, but after, so many years, after 20 years, from maybe a slightly left position politically, you have come to BJP, which according to many is not the kind of thing that one would expect.
This is where the real lack in understanding comes, in my view.
Exactly.
You are always asking why I have changed.
Yeah.
You're not asking where the environment has changed.
Right.
How much the environment changed. What are my positions? What are the positions we have taken? Right? The positions we are taking that this country can only be run, managed by any government.
Right.
By a government that believes in the simple fact that people of all faiths are equal.
Right.
That is my view of secularism. In fact, I like to call it faith equality, and I've been calling it a long while before.
Right.
And equality not simply before the law, because that's easy to do, but equality in society, in our social behavior, in the fact that we, and I've said this over and again, I've said it in my maiden speech in Parliament. I said that, who is here, right, who can claim that there is better faith equality than in India, anywhere in the world.
Right.
How do I know it? I know it because every morning begins with the azan, followed closely by the sound of the temple bells, followed by the Guru Granth Sahib being recited, followed on Sundays by the church bells. And this is not because of democratic India's constitution. The sound of the azan has been coming for 1400 years, starting from Kerala.
Right.
I think Thrissur was
Thrissur district.
District was where the first mosque was created right then.
Right.
I think in the first decade or something like that.
That was in Kodungalore.
Yeah.
That was a replica of which the Narendra Modi has taken
the Prime
to Saudi
Minister
Arabia.
has taken to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
So, the fact that today the party which I am very happy to belong to says that everyone in public, the Prime Minister says, for everyone in public life there is only one book, it's called the Constitution of India.
Right. But
that is fine, and that for me is the defining faith. When the Prime Minister goes and in a public meeting over and over again, I'm not simply talking of development for all, but when in Patna, in Gandhi Maidan, he's standing there addressing a crowd of 500,000 or more people, and suddenly there are bomb attacks on him. And when a bomb attack comes, you really speak from the heart at that moment, whatever is in your mind. And what does he say? He says, instinctively, I was actually accidentally perhaps watching it, that speech live, and instinctively, he says, Hindus have to decide whether they want to fight Muslims or they want to fight poverty, and Muslims have to decide whether they want to fight Hindus or they want poverty. For me, that is enough. If in the rest of our life we can create situations where we realize that everyone of every faith has only one enemy in this country, and that enemy is poverty.
We are living in a time when BJP is seen as, as an opposite to all what you said, at least in certain views, because in terms of, pluralism or the attitude towards minorities, or, as you said, people of all faith have all the rights, equal rights to live in society. So, but especially because of the kind of, signs of intolerance that you see around, so many other kinds of instances that we see in the media day in and day out. But do you think that this picture of BJP, which is, is not quite right? And it's an obvious thing
when you say the signs, I wonder who you're talking about. You're talking about 2 or 3 voices that prop up occasionally. right? Which are, I agree, they should not be there.
Right.
But if you can tell me any institution, including yours,
Yeah.
which has everyone, singing from the same hymn sheet, I'd be very surprised. Right? These are fringe. Does the Prime Minister of India belong to the BJP or not? Does the Finance Minister of India, Arun Jaitley, belong to the BJP or not? Does the Home Minister of India, Rajnath Singh, belong to the BJP or not? I can name every minister.
But did
Does Sushma Swaraj, the Foreign Minister of India, belong to the
Right.
BJP or not? I mean, Nitin Gadkari, does he belong
Right.
to the BJP or
But
not?
the complaint is that when this kind of fringes spoke, these people did not speak.
Of course they did. And we were said repeatedly. If the party, I mean, I'm a national spokesman.
Right.
I've said, I have taken a view on every single one of these incidents. Right? And I hope I have taken a position on the side of sanity. We cannot fall into the trap. Look, this is a complex country. You and I don't know how many years, but 70s, 80s, 90s, the noughties, of this century, how much of violence we have covered.
Right.
Against that background, right, today what we have, you have small incidents. They shouldn't be there.
Right.
I'm not trying to justify
But do you think that the BJP has actually advanced from their original positions, so emotional positions?
I'm not getting into, I'm taking the situation as it is. Today, the party is led, has a leadership which believes very strongly in the amity between faiths. I would like your channel to keep on, and call it breaking news for God's sake, but keep on, since you raised these questions, please, please, please broadcast the Prime Minister's speech at the Bareilly Convention. Please broadcast what he's been saying when he goes across the world. The Prime Minister has just come back from Saudi Arabia. I know lots of people are hostile to him, are squirming at the fact that he got such a warm reception in Scotland.
Right.
And I tell you,
Right.
the rest of the world is far more objective about us than we are about ourselves. The Saudis know
Right.
where he is leading the country. Would the Saudis have given him a warm reception if they believed that he was
But
divided?
this was actually noted so keenly by Kerala because we have the largest Indian community in
Right,
there.
and I'm happy. I mean, I have to repeat it as many times as possible. I mean, he, after all, as you mentioned, took a replica of the first mosque.
Right.
That too is a gesture, because he owns that mosque. This is part of our heritage. That is a gift that we can give back to the Saudis.
Right.
He's not running away from that heritage. Isn't that an important thing?
Now, about the elections that are coming, you are in Kerala when the election, Kerala is going to a very important election in terms of big major changes seem to be in the offing. But what is your take about Kerala's election?
I am very delighted that you are saying big major changes. I assume you mean something more than just another change of government.
You mean the lotus is to bloom?
I assume you mean something more than just another shift from what yesterday I described,
right.
from topsy to turvy and back from turvy to topsy. But seriously, I mean, I honestly, and I've covered elections since 71.
I know that.
So I have not be so foolish as to start saying we will get this much or that much and so on. Eventually, the number of seats that we get is determined by the voter.
Right.
And he will let us know on May 19th.
Right.
Right? But one thing is beyond dispute, that the support for the BJP is going to be at its highest ever
In Kerala.
in Kerala, because there is an enormous, undercurrent, and that undercurrent is rising to the top as we advance towards elections. It's very visible. Why? There has to be a rational reason, because there is a fatigue with both the alternatives, that we've seen them for too long.
Right.
And while one comes and the other goes, and it's all very nice, but neither has delivered on the issues that are most important to Kerala, and particularly to the young.
Because we have groomed some of the best journalists of India of our times have actually either worked with you or worked under you, and I was fortunate to work under you in India Today for a pretty long time. So where do you see journalism, Indian journalism, going now? Many people would say that this is some of the best time of journalism, especially in terms of technology, and so many things are actually coming to help you out in journalism. So, but what is your take? Because you have been a guru to our generation of journalists.
Rather, the danger to journalism is never from government. There is no government in any democracy, and we are a very proud democracy. There is no government in any democracy which can do anything to destroy or hurt or damage a free media. Let me be very clear about that. So the danger to journalism is not from
the
there
sedition
at
law,
all.
the criminal defamation.
Nothing. We have seen all of it and
Right.
gone through all of it.
Right.
It does. Chodo.
Okay.
These are incidental things that happen along the
Right.
way. The only danger to journalism in any era, at any time, is from itself. When journalists do not protect credibility.
Last question. I just wanted ask you about why you came away from Congress party. You were so committed to Congress values at that time, and so what is the position? What is your take about the Congress party as of now? And secondly, you are from Calcutta, so you have watched closely the left movement of India, and so what do you think is happening to the left, because left is in one of its lowest ebbs.
Let me finish with Congress very quickly.
Right.
The Congress party at a certain point in its history became the corrupt party of India. And I'm afraid, I am not St. Francis of Assisi. I am not, any representative of God. I'm a normal guy. But I cannot participate in, if I see that kind of, no amount of cynicism is going to, because it's loot of the country's money, honestly.
Right.
And I'm telling you once again that I'm not being absolutist. I'm quite a realistic person.
Right.
But this kind of, number one. Number two, the party just totally, you don't discuss me, I'm nobody. You have to ask why the people have left the Congress. Because the people have left, because the Congress has abandoned the people. Third, when I see, and I'm a little diffident because it's easy to be accused of flattering somebody. But I genuinely did believe, and I began from a position of asking questions, that Narendra Modi is the person who can deliver a transformed economy. And if you want a complete answer to that, we'll have to meet again for half an hour on just his economic policy.
Right.
Just his economic policy. And his concentration that the economic transformation is now going to be the transformation of the poor and lifting them by trusting them and making the micro business into the next sort of, we had the famous Nehruvian phrase of the commanding heights of the economy.
Right.
He is making a new commanding heights by bringing the base at the poverty line up. In his opening speech in Parliament, when he became Prime Minister, he made a remark. And I tell you, when we first heard the first part of the remark, there was some apprehension. Then he said basically that the age of poverty alleviation is over. And poverty alleviation is, a phrase in the Constitution. And, I could almost see a couple of people looking around. And then came the defining sentence of however long he's Prime Minister. The era of poverty elimination has begun.
Right. It's not alleviation.
It's not alleviation. Ab chalta hai, nahi chalega. You can't have a chalta hai attitude.
Right.
You have to root out this curse.
Right.
Can you imagine what this economy will be if 500 to 600 million more Indians become consumers?
Absolutely.
Today they are not consumers.
Right.
We are looking at tremendous transformation.
Right.
And from day one, it's for all. He knows what he's talking about. By all he means that people who think they will be left behind by the BJP, he says no. No region, whether you vote for BJP or not, the East.
Right.
Right? So whether any part of the electorate votes for him or not, the economy and the national economy also belongs.
Right.
Belongs to the minorities, belongs to Muslims, belongs to everyone.
Right.
Poverty has no religion.
Absolutely.
Hunger has no religion.
Right. Now about the left too.
The left, I have not seen any creed that has betrayed its voters as sharply and as cynically as the left. I will give you only one example because we're running short of time. Right? For 35 years, if the left was in power in Bengal, you said I was born in Calcutta, I lived in Bengal, worked in Bengal, is for one reason. The largest percentage of Muslims in the country, state-wise, is in Bengal, as you know, 30%.
Right.
The one reason why they were is because they got the overwhelming support of Muslims.
The left. Right.
The left got it over and over and over again for 35 years. Can you believe it? And just a few weeks ago, an economic survey was published, which was released by Amartya Sen, not by an icon of BJP.
Right.
It was released by an icon of the left and by an icon of the Congress. And if you add the Congress years to it, it's 35 plus 10, 45. This report says that 90% of Bengali Muslims live in rural areas, and 82% of Bengali Muslims in rural areas are either on or below the poverty line, with a mean income largely of 2,500 rupees to 3,000. That is what the left has given to those who were its core voters. Why would anyone want to trust them?
Right. Thank you very much, Anj.
Thank you.